Happy Friday, folks, and welcome back to another episode from Aaron NYC Artist. I'm Aaron, and happy Friday. We went through another week. I hope everyone had a safe Memorial Day weekend. I know mine was wet with me barbecuing and everything, but hey, what can you do? We make the best of what we have. So, from last time, you know how I said that redoing those floating rocks at the end was going to be hard? So if you notice, yeah, I had to redo it because I wasn't liking it. So I did it, and now if you notice there, I'm adding a dragon to the background. So this is what's going to be behind the rock. So this is what the main character, the old lady, is summoning. She's summoning a dragon to fight. And right now, I've decided to try a trick where I draw half of the dragon and then copy, paste, flip it, join it, just to see what it would look like. And maybe just play around with it, see, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? Do I need to make the dragon bigger? Does it look like it's just sitting on her shoulders, on her back? Does it look like it's actually on the floor or the ground? But, I was just adding some more detail to it here because I wasn't quite sure. I figured let me just add some more stuff to get a good feel for it. And, I was just playing around with it to see what I would get. I know at some point, as I was drawing this, still at the back of my mind is this going to work? Seeing as I would have to start over if it didn't with the dragon, but I figured, let me just do a quick sketch, and talk about starting over. I was thinking about that, starting over. How are people feeling at my age starting over? It doesn't hurt to start over, Oh, and here, this is when I started. I think my wife came in, I was showing it to her, and like how big, small, we were just looking at it, and then she was like, yeah, it looked like it's just resting on top of her. So I just started to go back. So I figured, let me just do the head and do a very big, make the dragon's head huge. So hence starting over. That's if you notice and you're listening, you say, hey, I guess that topic is starting over. So, starting over. Does it hurt? Is it something to always reflect upon? Is it something that people in their 40s think about? Maybe people in their 50s think about, because it's like, well, I'm at that age where if I start over, how bad is this going to be? If you're single, yeah, you might not think about it, but when you're married and you have a family, you're like, yeah, you really have to think about it. It's things that you want to be able to, besides affecting you, is going to affect everyone else around you. But I guess I look at it like starting over, like it's just another chapter in the book. Your book isn't finished until you're dead. That's how I look at it. Your whole life is a story, and throughout life, you're going to start over. So, and I've started over, trying to be being a substitute teacher, but I don't know if I want to continue on that route. Seeing it from the other side about how things are done, I'm like, I don't think this is the route for me. But we'll see what happens. You never know. Things can change. An opportunity can come up where you go, you know what? Maybe doing this isn't such a bad idea. But anyways, back to this here. So as you can see, I'm penciling in the dragon's face. Like I said, I'm doing one half, but then I figured out, let me just do the other half, just to get an idea of what the dragon's gonna look like. I had it in my head, but right now I'm just sketching things out with the pencil, copy and paste, flip it over, just to save time. I know somebody's going to say, oh, you cheated. Like, look, dude, we do what we can to get the job done. And besides, when I start coloring it, you'll never know. But I'm adding the mouth here. I started adding a little bit quick detail around the nose and the mouth. I'm adding some spikes in the back for the dragon. There's it's where the wings go. So yeah, its wingspan. I started adding in some areas where the scales would be. So this thing has huge armored scales on every side. I put some spines in the back, some spikes in the back. And I was just, sitting here drawing this, listening to some music. I think I was probably having a drink at the time. And I was just like, just letting it flow through me. And the thought of starting over just came to mind. But for those of you who are listening, what are your thoughts about starting over? I'd like to really hear about that. Just write it in the comment talking about what was your starting over experience. How did you feel? Did it work for you? Did it not work for you? What were some of the challenges that you may have experienced with starting over? I know, for men sometimes it's a little bit harder, and then for those ladies who are listening, maybe you've had a couple of babies, you've raised them, and now you thinking about starting over doing something else. So I like to hear from you too. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so I started doing some sketching for the Old Warrior, the male version. Right now I'm trying to find something interesting. I want this guy to have like a sword, and he's like about to fight someone, and maybe he's like injured, and there's like maybe things around him. Maybe they're other fighters. Maybe they're like monsters. But I'm trying to make it like martial art-esque. So there's like, like, okay, this dude is, he knows how to fight. Maybe I'll make him like a ninja. Yeah, that's not such a bad idea. Make it like he's a ninja and he's fighting demons, but he's old, and it's like and maybe have it where maybe there's one dead on the floor, and or a couple of dead on the floor at his feet, and they're all like sitting there saying, okay, and he's like, who's next? I've lived long enough where I can kill you all and then go about my business. But that's a here, see it there. So that'll be something interesting to draw. I know with this lady, I actually started painting this lady. So if you follow me on Instagram, it's the same name. You would see the little stories I put out of where I'm at. So yeah, you'll see the video here on YouTube, but on Instagram, you'll actually, like, maybe every other day, you'll see, oh, this is where he's at. So right now, I just maybe finished the shading part of it. So I've added my shadows. So right now I have to go back and add my lights. And then maybe start putting on some blemishes on her face to show some age. But then again, it's hard when black don't crack. But I'll figure it out. I'll probably have to look at a couple of references. I know I was looking at a couple of references for her hair and a little bit from her face. I do say that I don't know why I chose that particular color for her eyes, but it looked pretty cool. So I think I'm gonna stick with that particular color. Maybe I'll probably end up changing it later, but for right now I'm gonna leave it as is. And then take it from there. Now here, the summoning circle. I actually created this circle and I was looking at the words. So I created the new words and I was like, I don't know. Then I was thinking about cracks. Should I have cracks coming from the circle? I mean, in the end, I didn't go with it, but I might go back to that by adding the cracks. But like I said, when you're doing something and then you're like, it doesn't look good this time around, later on it might be like, yeah, let's go back to adding that, because that may give it some more pop, give it some emotion, because that's the one thing I want to go for with this design, with this piece, is emotion. So the one thing I started doing is started adding like maybe a little bit of electricity or something's coming down from the sky, and I started drawing it outside the circle first. But then I realized, like, as I was doing this, maybe put it inside, but I figured let me just keep going, because, doing a digital on a computer makes it, you can always move things and manipulate things so that it's coming out. But if you notice, I also have it when it hits the ground, it's jumping, like the lightning's jumping off the ground and spreading out. So that's something else that I was like, yeah, let's do that. But let's do that and see what happens. I think it was maybe around here. Yep, this is where I decided to move it so that it hits the circle, then cracks outward. So I pretty much did the two edges first, and then I started working on what stuff from the middle. So this way, you have these things coming down from on the all the light is coming in there, going off the circle. I still don't know how I'm gonna do that circle. That's the one thing that I am working on, but it's like one of those things like, well, just try to get everything down, and then everything else you can put in later. But I do know that I do want to have this piece done by at least by June 25th or the 30th, whichever comes first. Maybe not June 25th, but maybe on the 30th. I do want to have this whole thing done. Finalize it a little bit, and then hopefully piece all the videos together showing you the process of this, and with some music. If I can figure out, if I do music to this, what do I need to do so that copyright infringement and everything else, or maybe I have to use the music from YouTube that they provide. Let's see, from here, I'm still doing my blue line work. I'm still adding in lightning and stuff like that. What else? There was something else. Oh, yeah, so school's almost out. So for those parents on here who are listening, how you feel about that? Either our kids are graduating from school or our kids are going to be out. And I know for us New Yorkers, starting September, once again, starting over, our kids are going back to school. So I know that's going to be a real interesting treat for them, because pretty much for some of them, they were home since this started, and some were blended learning. So now they have to start over and learning how to interact with their fellow students. So I'm curious to see how my oldest is going to deal with that, since she's been home pretty much since the pandemic started. I know my youngest was blended learning. But yeah, this should be a very interesting experience. Yeah. So, what about starting over with your health? So let's say your health is bad. You want to start over to make yourself feeling better, right? So another way you can do that is, one, listen to your doctor if your doctor's telling you something. And two, just join a gym. Start eating healthy. Start over by eating healthy. Start over by living a healthier lifestyle. Start over by just reevaluating, what am I doing wrong? Like I said, there's nothing wrong starting over. For those of you in your 30s, you're like 20s or 30s, you're still, I guess you can start over with it depending on what the situation is. But I know for us, a lot of us older folks, when it comes to starting over, we have to think about, well, one, age is a factor, two, expenses. But that's just my opinion. I'm pretty sure someone's going to say something else. But like I said, state your opinion in the comments. We can start a conversation with this. Also, I'm thinking about doing one where people can ask questions, or also I would like to do a live stream off Instagram where people, anyone wants to ask a question, they can just leave the question in the comments. I'll write it down, and then maybe sometime a little bit probably after the 4th of July weekend, I'll do something like that. So this way, everyone can get to know me a little bit better. We can talk, we can listen to some music, we can, call it a BYOB party. For those of you who know what that means, you know what that means. I'm not going to say what it is. And we'll just take it from there. Ask questions, listen to some music. If you want to dance, you can dance. I'll talk more about the coloring book project I'm working on. Right now, it's funny, I found a picture that I had used for a vector art that I definitely going to use as one of the for the Muay part. So at least I got that part down, and if I can find a good boxing reference, I'll use that. Judo might, if it depends what I can find, but believe I can probably use a judo reference and a jiu-jitsu reference, boxing, wrestling. If I can find these little references here and there to put down, that'd be great. And then anything else that I need to take a picture of, I'll ask my friends about it. I know a friend of mine who posed for me for this one. I was telling her, I says, yeah, I'm going to keep your name a secret until the very end. And she smiled. She was like, oh, you can tell people. I was like, yeah, well, we'll tell at the end. So I know I'm going to be asking some of my friends to help me with camera poses and everything else, because I know sometimes you're looking for a certain angle is not working, and then sometimes you want to use a full frame of the people's feet, so at least you're not cutting off the feet, because I know that's one problem I was looking at online, is that a lot of references, sometimes they cutting off the feet, and you're like, well, I really don't want to do that, so because I want to give the person who wants to color it like the full experience of having, I'm working with the whole body. And if it's a fellow artist who just want to do the digital coloring from it, at least they have something to work with. But I know for a fact that I will probably more than likely be drawing this from Illustrator, using it'll be a vector art book, and maybe I'll even film some behind the scene videos from it too and post it online. I think that would probably be cool also, so everyone can see the process of how I'm doing this, where I got the photos from, maybe a couple of interviews with some friends of mine who's going to be part of it, and then work from there. All right, so like I said, it's Friday night. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this. If you have any questions, leave a comment. If you agree, if you have your own stories about starting over, leave a comment. If you want to know the software I'm using, maybe this is your first episode. I use Clip Studio Art for my illustrations, but I use Photoshop and Illustrator for other things. Like I said, I still practice with all the programs I use, because Illustrator helps me do things that Photoshop can't, and Photoshop helps me do things that I have a little bit trouble doing with Clip Studio. So it's almost that time. So I want to say thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. Like I said, I already filmed the 2 episodes for this. So episode 3 will probably be, I believe, showing the color part, but that one was broken apart due to a slight glitch with my computer. So that should be interesting. Anyways, good night. Be safe. Have a safe weekend. And remember, it's okay to start over. And also, be creative and let those creative juices flow. All right, this is Aaron NYC, and I'll see you later.